Are you looking for your fuse box on your Freightliner Cascadia? Do you think that's it? Well, we're in the wrong spot. It's way more convoluted than that. Let's go around. No, it's not here either. But at least not the one we're looking for. So, where is it, you ask? Right in here. Just like cars, right? No, you're gonna have to have a tool to do it, but we'll get to that. So, while I am generally a Freightliner kind of guy, I do think this is a little convoluted, and you will need tools. Let's take a look at what I mean. To access the SAM cab, which is kind of your all-around user interface stuff that the driver actually cares about, that he wants to fix before he gets to the shop, it's actually inside, underneath your glove box insert, and you'll have to remove these 4 screws. I believe it's 4, we'll find out along the way. And to do this, you'll need a Torx driver. Now, you don't actually need a Torx driver. You can achieve the same thing with a 1/8 hex driver, but you have to be a little more careful because it'll tend to strip it. So let's get the camera set up and actually get us pulled out. All right, so step 1, get all your crap out of the glove box. Otherwise it will fall out onto the ground. Step 2, we need to pull the right size hex driver, which is properly oiled for storage, from its case. Okay. By the way, I am not a certified mechanic. I am just a truck driver. I'm also not telling you to do something against your company's policies, so read your company's policies and procedures to make sure that you're not breaking them by tearing into the truck. However, that is given with the caveat that this is fairly basic maintenance of any vehicle. See, it's not quite, there we go. You got to make sure you line up the tool with the screw correctly. And the reason this works on a hex nut, even though this is not a hex driver, or excuse me, a Torx driver on a hex nut, it's really hard to see because this camera doesn't focus well, but the inside of this star is a hex shape. Draw a star out, draw a pentagram on a piece of paper, and you'll see a hex, as in, or a penta, which is 5, which is what a hex is. Kind of, sort of. See if you can see it. Nope, it won't focus, but that's okay. Let's get this last one. Last 2 backed out. This is the super exciting part. I'm surprised at how tight these are. And the last one. You can kind of see the whole thing wants to rock already. Rocking and rolling. There we go. Now I'm probably going to have to move the whole camera to pull this thing out. Okay, our 4 screws, safe and sound in the paper towel. Move our tools, and the whole thing will pull out. I'm just trying to do this so I don't mess the camera up. And you'll see on the top of it, there is your fuse diagram. So you kind of got to look up each of these numbers, which you probably can't see, but these are numbers, fuse F1 through 41, and then relays, which are a little bit like fuses but different, are labeled, and then they have corresponding numbers. So F1 and F1. And sometimes they're hard to understand, sometimes they're easy. So power, FD, spare, 1 and 3, battery. Couldn't tell you, couldn't even begin to tell you. Cab, sleeper, HVAC control, SHF, stuff hits the fan. Panel is F2, which is right below that. So in order to figure these out, kind of have to use a little common sense. One thing they do that is not convoluted, and this is pretty much on any fuse block you're going to find on a vehicle with a diagram, is it looks like the picture. So if we look, and I get to do this by holding a flashlight, and we'll set this down. Let's see if I can. We'll just put the headlamp on my head. Oh my goodness, what an idea, right? So if you look, maybe, there's a row here, and then there's 2 rows next to each other, and there's these 3 big old relays, right? Now if we come over to our diagram, we look, there's a row here, there's 2 rows next to each other, and then there's 1, 2, and 3 big old relays. And what we see on the diagram is there's 3 fuses in between this relay and these 2 relays. So I'll bet if I stick the camera back there real nice and careful like, right, it'll be too dark. So we'll get the flashlight. Lo and behold. Okay. So we want to check the, oh, that's a lot of stuff. We want to check. So we want to check, oh, just tell them how you really feel. We don't know what we want to check. There's a long list of stuff here that you probably can't read because it doesn't want to focus, but that's okay. Here's the deal. Here's the real deal about fuses. When you can't understand this mumbo jumbo, let's go back to basics. How to pull a fuse, right? These things are super hard to pull. You're never gonna get that. So the good way to do it is with a pair of needle nose pliers. Always note which one you're pulling, right? Because you don't want to put it back in the wrong spot and really screw things up. You just gotta pull straight up, maybe give her a little bit of side wiggle, and she'll pull out. Okay? That's the good way to do it. The better way to do it is with one of these super fancy tools. Look at that. That is what 3,000 years of human evolution has brought us. Molded plastic. As you can see, there's 2 ends. This end has little dealies. This end does not. The end with little dealies is for putting it back in. The end without the little dealies is for pulling it out. And it rocks in the center, and you put it over the fuse, and then you squeeze like tweezers. So let's use the better way and figure out what fuse is not right here. I know that my outlets in the sleeper have no power, okay? So the bigger the fuse, the more power it has to handle. In this particular setup, 20 amp fuses are almost the largest. There's a couple of 30s, the green ones are 30s, the yellow ones are 20s. But what you can't see because of the poor lighting, and I doubt my flashlight will help you see that. Yeah, you're not gonna see it. What you can't see is I can see one of these 20 amp fuses is black in the inside of it. So let's just pull this out, see what we find. Noting that it is right behind this, or right in front of this 25 amp fuse. And I can check the diagram. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so it's the two little ones there, too. F15. F15 would be slipper per recept 3, sleeper power receptacle 3, and battery. So let's just pull this sucker and see what we get. Ha ha ha. See that in the middle there? It's probably fuzzy, but That is a blown fuse. That is a blown fuse. See how that dark spot there, inside of that, there's a little metal piece and it's not connected anymore because it's blown. It's done its job. So we come to our fuse kit, which we are legally required to carry, and happy that we have one right now. And we pull the 20 amp fuse. And if you look at that one, see that metal piece, how it goes whoop, like a little wave in there? That is a not blown 20 amp fuse. So how do we install a not blown 20 amp fuse, you say? Well, that's why you're watching this, isn't it? So we're gonna take this. This is the end with the little dealies. And we're just gonna clip it like that. And you gotta put a little pressure, otherwise it'll wanna fall out. But those little dealies will keep it moving from moving side to side. Isn't that handy? Remember, 3,000 years of evolution. Let's put that sucker back in. And all you can do to get it back in, just kind of set it in there. And you won't be able to see it, but inside of those slots, there's two little metal prongs, or two little metal deals that those prongs slide into. And you want to make sure you're centered in there, and then just firm pressure down, and she pops right in. Doop-a-doop. Oh, hello. Welcome to my sleeper. Oh, we're on business here. This has a light on it. Let's see if we can make it turn on. Now before, this outlet didn't work, along with most of them in my sleeper. Boop! Look at that. Look at that. Let's try another spot. This one back in here didn't work either. There it is. Flip it up. I know you can't see anything right now, but hopefully with luck you will see. Boop! Look at that. Off. Boop! On. Off, boop, on, off, boop. Okay, you get the picture. All right, look at that. And that's how to change a fuse. Everything's the same in reverse order to put it back. Okie dokie. Bye. What a ripoff, man. Guy didn't even show us how to put the truck back together. He probably doesn't know. He probably doesn't even know. He probably made that all up. Now I'm gonna mess my truck up and my company's gonna fire me. All right. We'll put it back together. But I'm not gonna do super awesome camera angles for you guys because it's hard, all right? It's hard to do. Okay. As I stated, in the reverse order of life, and I get to do this around a tripod, so you better be grateful. You better be so grateful. I'm doing the weirdest things behind camera. Not that I don't do those when you're not looking. Okay, I hope you guys, for those of you who stuck around, now the comedy show begins. Okay, let's see. So, I can't see what the heck I'm doing. Let's have some camera intrusion. Look at that. Oh my goodness, so many thousands of you. All right, that's the way I can see what you guys see. I want to watch the video too. So this deal is really just a matter of patience and wiggling. All right, there is a little slot right here and right here, and that's, you got to start it off on that slot and just kind of slide her up in, and it will get harder. Now remember, we have the dealy whopper with the Velcro, and we don't want to mess that up for no particular reason other than it's hard to get back in. See how hard that is? I'll show you how hard it is. Look, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. But last time I did this, I messed it up. We'll see. Okay, there's little clippies that you saw when you took it apart because you do pay attention to what you do, right? Good. All right, this deal, it's hard to put back in. Super hard. Mostly because you got to make sure the wiring ends up behind it. But in this case, the harness is set up a little differently than my last truck. So that's in. That was super duper hard, as you can see. I told you he doesn't know what he's doing. He's making this up as he goes. Oh my goodness! Did you see that? Did you see that? I almost lost a very expensive cell phone that I just got. All right, this is not so hard either. Let's open her up. And I get to contort around the camera again. And it's pretty simple. It's just basically another wiggle job. One thing I will note, these deals are for the corners of this door when it opens. So if you're having trouble getting it in, right, open the door a little bit and it will kind of, see, it will kind of, you can't see it, you can't see it, they can't see it, they can't see it. He's just making this up. He doesn't even care if we see how to do this. Okay, tools and 4 good screws, because what's better than 1 screw is 4 screws. All right, when you put these in, I recommend not to put them in tight. Just get them all started and do it like you're doing a tire. Did he just insinuate that I do tires? Do it like you're putting a tire back on your car, you sick freak. Oh my goodness. All right, just get them each all started in a little fancy star pattern. Okay. And numero arba. I know it wasn't all Spanish. That was Spanish and Hebrew, because I don't speak Spanish. Cuatro. I only know that because of Chic Cuatro. 4 blades for a better shave, and because I shave so often, as you can tell. All right, once they're all 4 started, just screw them on down. Make sure that door. Oh my goodness! I dropped the tool. It went all the way down. It's all the way down. It's down there. It's all the way down. Rescue mission. 3 points of contact. Okay. 3 points of contact coming back in, even though I didn't have it to start with. It's better late than never. It's never a bad time for safety. Okay. There we go. I'm not sure why you needed to see this part, but you guys are the ones that wanted to see it. I know what would have heard about it. I know what would have been like. He's not going to show us how to put it back together. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's full of himself. Who does he think he's talking to? It's hard to do with one hand. There we go. And then, do not over tighten these. They don't need to be super tight. They're just going into plastic. So just, once they're snugged up, just a little quarter turn. And they will be fine. You'll kind of feel them snug up, and they don't need to go much more. See? It's as solid as a piece of plastic ever could be. Alright, I'm going to take some of this excess oil, recoat my tool, because it's important to have a well-coated tool, because these little buggers will rust on you. I should note that the power should be turned off at the power switch before you go doing that stuff. Note over. Alright guys, well, that's how to find the fuse block in your Freightliner Cascadia. There's actually like 6 fuse blocks that have different things to do with different parts of the truck, but like I say, for us drivers, that's where most of your important stuff is, like your fuse for your radio. So when your radio just blips out for no good reason, it doesn't turn on, there's no power to it, and you've checked the wire on the back and it's okay, check the fuse. Those are the 2 basic things. Does it have power? Does it have power? Power from the wire, power from the fuse. Okay. In this case, my outlets, my little plugins in the back stopped working, so you know, it's basic stuff. That SAM cabin controls inside of the cabin, basically. Little stuff like that. Lights, like the interior lights, are controlled by that, and a few different things. Your Qualcomm actually does have one that runs through that. Your CB hookups have one that run through that. So that's where you go to check that stuff. And remember, the little broken, if it's not complete in there, it's a bad fuse. It's done its job, it's blown, it needs a new one. The new one should have the metal inside, like that. Alright guys, good luck. Don't blow yourselves up. Check a company policy. Safety, safety, safety.